Alright, so it is time for another Technique Tuesday, and today we're going to be discussing different knitting methods, which differ from styles. You can check out the description box below, and I've got links to some of the other ones so that you can compare and contrast and see what I'm talking about. But if you'd like to know more about the different knitting methods I'll be exploring, I'll do one per video. I've got 4 to share with you. Then stay tuned. I am Aradia Noiri. I am the resident witch and creatrix over at Aradia's Hand and Danae's Divine, where I create myth, magic, and meaning for your everyday life through art, intuition, and energy work. So on Tuesdays, I like to do a little technique video. I try to keep it simple, a single technique, so you can get to the exact video that you want to, and not have to do a whole lot of fast forwarding and whatnot. So we're going to discuss knitting methods today, and the first knitting method I'm going to start off with is Eastern style. So when we talk about knitting, a lot of people talk about knitting styles, which is how you hold the yarn. So I hold the yarn in my non-dominant hand. I'm a continental knitter. A lot of people are familiar with whether they are a continental or an English knitter. There are also variations on continental, and then there are just a few other knitting styles that we will explore later. And this is sometimes called picking. But regardless of how you hold your yarn, how you form your stitches, and the way in which you wrap your yarn is another thing entirely. And sometimes people associate certain styles with certain methods, but really any of them can go together. So this one we're gonna explore, like I said, Eastern. And in this one, the long and short of it is you always work in the back of the loop. So this is the front of the loop, this is the back of the loop. And then you always wrap your yarn clockwise, which means it goes, just real quickly, it goes this way, because that would be in the direction of a clock if you were to turn your needle this way. That's how it would look. So we're going to work a few rows. I'm going to do this in a knit and purl rib. That way you can see both on the same row. And we'll do a couple, and you'll be able to see the difference. And really, how you choose to knit, the method that you use, as far as I'm concerned, whatever works for you, whatever's easiest for you, that's the way you should do it. There are slight variations in the fabric, but most of them are slight enough that for most projects it really doesn't matter, and you can always change it up and try something different. So a little bit of Eastern. And when I started, I did work a certain way. I actually worked a lot more combination, and so we're going to work into the back, and I can see that my cast on's a little too tight. So, and this is where it gets tricky. I personally don't knit this way because I hate working a purl in the back loop. And you'll see why in a second. So there's the front loop, right? There's the back loop, there. Whenever you're purling, generally speaking, your yarn is in front. Okay, so you're gonna go from the back, okay, from the other side, because otherwise you would be doing a knit. And you're going to put the yarn over in a clockwise manner, and there you go. And I just find it, purling this way, it's just a little awkward for me, so I don't much care for it. And while there are differences in speed for a lot of people, oh, sorry, I went the wrong way. Oops. See, you can tell this is not how I usually knit. And the little tricks that I use to knit don't don't do as well with this. Alright, so we've got one row so far. It doesn't look like much. But we'll work this next one. Because it's a purl, the yarn's already forward, which is great. Yep. For me, often the part of the problem is having to turn my work this way for me to be able to see it easily. Now, as with anything, oops, looks like we made a mistake here. I think we did too many, yeah, we did too many knits. So we'll just tink back. And we'll do a whole entire video on tinking at some point. So I think it's a super valuable skill to know how to tink back and fix your work. Yep, okay. You'll have to pardon me, I don't need to be moving off camera so much. Oops. Alright, yeah. I'm sure that's painfully awkward to watch, honestly. As you can see, we've still got our knits, purls, knits, purls, knits. Now, one thing I will say is that you see how these knits in here look a little twisted a certain way. And if you look at the back, they do look a little different here and here. And part of that is because the way the fabric was worked. The stitches are being manipulated in a particular fashion. And so that affects how they look. While a knit is being made, regardless of how you wrap the yarn or where you put the yarn, you can see that there's a noticeable difference between these and, say, these. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and work 2 more rows so we can see if we can keep it on camera a little better. So there you go, and 2 more rows, and you can see that, you know, everything's still the same. It's a little easier to see all the stitches now. So that is the Eastern method of knitting, which again, you work in the back loops of both the knits and the purls, and you wrap the yarn clockwise when you go to work the stitches. Up next, we're going to be talking about Western, and then combination, and then we're going to talk about my version of combination at the very end. So stay tuned, look out for those videos. They will be linked in the description below. And thanks for watching. Happy knitting!